Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here. Today I have a solo playthrough for Primal, The Awakening. This one's a fully cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which you are playing mighty heroes with mighty miniatures with gigantic weaponry. And you'll need it because you are going to be facing against a series of bosses like this one. In this playthrough, I'll be fighting against the Toramat. Primal The Awakening is a boss battling game in which you are going to be facing bosses like these over a series of unfolding chapters. In this game, you're going to play your cards, engage in combos, and helping one another take down the boss. As the campaign goes on, you'll level up your cards, get some crafting going, improve your character. The bosses will get stronger as well, and then culminates in a mighty show-stealing battle. Or you could play what the game calls the Expedition mode, in which you take down one of the bosses individually. In this playthrough, I'm going to pick up from where Mike left off. Mike played the prologue boss while the Kickstarter was live. Now I am going to play Chapter 1 of the main story. It has a branching path, and I chose the path that led me straight to Toramat. So I am going to give some story spoilers of the first chapter, but nothing beyond that. In addition, I'll give you a little bit of an unboxing, see what else is in the package of Primal. We'll talk about leveling up. I have some slightly leveled up characters here, and I'll talk about how the rest of that progresses. I will not get into a tutorial of the rules. I'll leave that to Mike's video, which I will share a link to in the show notes. Very little has changed from that playthrough except for one thing concerning boss damage, and I'll get into that pretty early once I start the fight. Final announcement, this was not a review copy. The One Stop Co-op Shop is getting a review copy getting sent to Mike. I backed this with my own money. This is my kind of game. I love Sentinels of the Multiverse, Marvel Champions, the more recent Genshin Taro. Boss battling card games is my jam, so I was all in on Primal with my own hard-earned money. Now let's get to just a few more channel announcements, and then I will dive into Primal, The Awakening. This is the One Stop Co-op Shop, a multi-platform gaming empire, and your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. All right, so as promised, here at the edge of the table, a little bit of an unboxing. So the first thing you see when you open is this giant menagerie. The Toramat usually lives right there. You see that everything is molded pretty good. Most of the creatures are variations on dragon. Unfortunately, we've lost Colin and Barrett here on the One Stop Co-op Shop. They were our painters. So they are the ones that would make this stuff look pretty. As it is, I will let you admire all the scaly, winged, dinosaur-esque creatures that are in this package. In addition, as you can see, this is the big one right here. We're talking about Primal The Awakening. I wonder what we're going to have to deal with that is actually awakening. That guy. We have some more bad guys over here. If Primal The Awakening has one thing, it has bad guys. And so we have more enemy mats. There's one enemy mat per. And also you get the 4 heroes. So I have the hammer wielder and the bow wielder in reserve. Going with a little bit of a warrior paladin setup, translating from D&D. We got some campaign trackers over here, lots of cards, items, and also main weapons. You notice that there's not a lot of room for the extra stuff that comes in the expansion, so it's not one of those games where you could just shove it all in there. You'd have to keep your expansion boxes, but that's okay. At least for the base game stuff, everything fits in here. It's well organized. I know we've had a lot of these on Kickstarter. It's kind of become a standard, but I really do admire whenever they can get all that stuff into one package. In addition, in the big Primal package are the rule books. Look at the size of these things, putting the book in rule book. So here is the actual set of rules, which reaches up to around 120 pages, which is completely crazy. Now, there are tons of pictures. Things repeat themselves. They go through the campaign and the prologue, so it's not that bad. But still, this game does have a lot of rules crunch, a lot of little things, phases that just are sprinkled into your turn. and especially when it comes to the reaction system for the boss. So I'm giving people a heads up right now. This is not the video for you if you want a 100% correct jot and tittle playthrough. I am going to miss stuff. I'm going to miss a phase. I'm going to not realize that my card has a power or whatever. There is so much to track, which is why this book is so big. I will do my best to note corrections in the playthrough itself and also refer people to the comments below. If you have rules corrections, please be kind when you're sharing. So that's my little statement on the rules. Now it is time to get into some of the campaign stuff. We're going to begin with chapter 1. So if you want to skip the fluff, go ahead and check the show notes below. If not, enjoy. The airship plows the skies that takes you back to Alberia, humanity's stronghold on Thyria. Below you, the natural world is still reeling from thunderous rumblings of Woltyar. Animals flee to take refuge in the burrows and dens, and the trees are bent double with the ferocious breath of the wind. Far away, on the horizon, you see the ocean. Following the drought in the outer islands, your ancestors sailed those waters for years before landing on the great continent of Thyria. This is the only green and verdant land that still welcomes life. You've always wondered what its secret was. The airship lands at a port just outside the city walls. Still covered in ash, you disembark from the deck with the precious cargo on your shoulders. Hunched under its weight, you make your way across the garrison courtyard, overlooked by the hunter's quarters. When you drop the Viraxian carcass with a thud, some seekers, laden with parchment scrolls, widen their eyes in astonishment, and a group of hunters training not far away stop what they're doing to look in your direction. Do you know what kind of monster that is? The new recruits ask each other in a whisper. The city's blacksmith emerges from a smoking tower and looks curiously at the scene of the door of the forge. A few seekers run towards you, followed closely by the tall figure of the commander, Raja. Austere in her black robes, with a single glance, the commander disperses the crowd that is gathered around your trophy. No trace of the expedition, Commander, Thorig hastens to explain. The monster caught our scent and attacked us immediately after the eruption. Raja nods, then bends down and rests her head on Viraxion's face, staring at it with a gloomy expression. You realize that your squad was not the only expedition that had been attacked recently. Summon the Keeper. His presence is required at the council meeting tonight. She orders with a cadet, then she turns towards you. The council will meet later today at sunset. You have earned the right to attend. You see her gather herself pensively, then she looks up at the plumes of smoke billowing out of the forge. But first, come with me. There's something I want to show you. The next couple pages of lore, I'll leave that for you to explore on your own. I get myself access to a forge and an herbalist. I defeated a fire creature, so I've opened up a fire forge and also the herbalist. After we get through the opening council, we'll come back here and talk about crafting. It is now sunset. After learning to recognize new plants and flowers that can be used to make potions, you thank Thessa and rush to arrive in time for the council meeting. The large tent that has been erected in the courtyard is lined with tapestries featuring embroidered depictions of heroic deeds of the bravest hunters. Waiting for you, you find the captains of the veteran squad sitting in a circle, with their eyes fixed on Raja, who has been chosen as their leader. You take your seats in a few moments before the commander takes the floor. Recent events call for closer cooperation between us all. Tragic news is getting increasingly frequent from every outpost on the island. Settlements under attack, groups of people missing, monsters pushing beyond the limits of their territories. And lastly, today, the awakening of Woltyar and a Viraxian attack. The commander gives you the floor, and you explain in detail what happened during the mission. Concern rises among those present, and their questions get more pressing. What happened to the Prime Seeker's expedition to the slopes of Woltyar? How is the volcano connected to the monster's attacks? Raja knits her brows and decisively restores order and confidence. Nail is the best seeker we have, perhaps the best Alberia has ever had. We have done everything we could. I know him. I'm sure he's alive, and he'll return to us soon. The hunters look at each other. After a moment's pause, the commander resumes. Our mettle is being tested. We need a guide in this time of chaos. At that very moment, the tapestry behind her seat is pulled aside, and a tall man emerges, with severe features and a long, golden-green robe. He's known as the Keeper. There are rumors of him drinking monster blood, and he can see things that human eye cannot. Noatar has guided us to all the recent discoveries. His gift can no longer be ignored. She concludes as the man steps forward under the gaze of the veteran captains. Nature on Thyria is different from that of the outer islands. Thyria is alive, and she seems to have a powerful connection with her creatures.
in the blood of the monsters, there is a trace of a power that, like the threads in the tapestry behind me, weaves its way through the lives, events, and most ancient places on the island. Through their blood, I can access the tapestry of life and retrace the threads that lead me to relive the memories of living beings, places, and events of the past.
Ray just takes the floor again.
From dawn tomorrow, the Keeper will become a member of this council. The blood of these monsters is now a precious resource for us. I want all combat-ready squads to go out on missions. There'll be new quests posted every day on the large quest board in the yard. The behavior of these monsters is getting increasingly unpredictable. Forget what you know about them, because out there, nothing is like we remember it anymore.
So here is the quest board. As you can see, it is a map with all of the different terrains. That's where you'll find the different monsters. Here are 2 quests, 1 and 2, that I pulled out of the box among many quests. You look at the matching element, and I see that I have a thunder monster up here and a horn monster down here. I have chosen to fight the memory of the desert, which means I will open up Toramax. With the expansion, you can shuffle in different quests. As you play through, there'll be more and more quests. Some of them you'll complete, some of them will elapse. All that stuff is included in the story pathing you'll find in the campaign book. The next phase when it comes to preparing for the adventure is crafting. So first of all, you check out your potion list. Potions are powerful, but they're one time, so be careful when you use them. Every adventure will give you some materials, and then you'll have a list of what you can prepare. Both of my characters made 1 potion each. My fighter, Darian, made Vidia. Vidia is discard a card from hand so I can search my deck for an attack card. So basically a potion that will get me a little bit more attack when I need it. My sword and shield warrior, I gave them some Imperia, which is to suffer a little bit of damage and draw 2 cards. That character is a little bit sturdier, so I gave them the more dangerous potion. The Alamore is the healing potion. They both have one of those, but for the most part, they enable card draw, offense. You get the drill of a boss battler. All right, let's get some weapons crafted up. First of all, let's check out Darian, my sword fighter, who I'm going to call Robert for this playthrough. You'll figure out why in hopefully a little bit. So here is Robert's sheet. And what I did was counted their fire, because they got 2 fire from Varaxin and also some items, blood, scales, bones, etc. Using the chart on the Fire Forge, I was able to, first of all, and most importantly, upgrade this weenie sword that only had a base of 2 damage and a minor power into Flame Tongue. Level 1, a little bit more powerful 4 base damage, which will really feel itself after a while. And also I can suffer a damage, and if I do, increase the attack by 3 once per turn. Offense, offense. In addition, this was their helmet. Their helmet starts off weenie. It only has base hit points. I instead cashed in and got the red scale helm, which lets me discard the top of my deck. If it is red, then I get to keep it in my hand. There's 1 extra hit point, so I'm a little bit tougher. In addition, as you can see, these numbers over here correspond to the cards that are in my hand. The base sword distributed the cards pretty evenly. This sword, it's a thinner deck, but it is oriented towards red. So we're going to have a chance to scoop up some more reds and make those lengthy combos that make this game sing. If you saw Mike's playthrough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen Mike's playthrough, then go check that one out and come right back here for the continuation of the adventure. So here's my sword and shield fighter, official name Lejolnar. I'm going to call them Ned for reasons. They could have also taken that upgrade path in terms of having the fire materials. However, this sword and shield combo in terms of the red line would give me more damage. I don't want that for this fight. I happen to know, and you can check out the boss cards and everything, see what they do. This boss will give a lot of struggle tokens to itself. So I stuck with the basic outlay. Every time I play a yellow card, I can remove 1 struggle, helps you manage that a little bit better. Sometimes you want to do that, not just go for the most powerful thing, but the thing that you think will be most useful in the battle. I did, however, give myself some extra armor. If my health is critical, draw 1 critical means half health. This boss is nasty. In this game, your health is your armor and your helm. So I have 10 hit points. When I reach 5 hit points, I'll be drawing an extra card every round. In terms of prep, last and certainly not least, in fact, this might be the most important thing, is the deck building. So you start your game with a weenie starter set of cards, which is okay for the prologue, but you want to do better than that. So I happen to get an upgrade opportunity at the end of the Viraxen fight. So what you do is you choose one of 5 skill trees, and you take 2 cards from there to add to your pool, and of course you're going to swap them right in. Each of these paths represents a play style. So do you want to play a totally aggressive game, some aggression and healing, a little bit of defense, some more anti-struggle tactics weaved in there, all sorts of different options. So in terms of my main fighter, which is Robert, I went with a more aggressive paradigm, which operates on what they call these slash cards. So I'm going to try to get combo chains going with a lot of my different slash cards. Ned, who's my backup, who's my tank, oriented them more around assisting and taunting. Assisting means getting more card draw. So my man over here, so we're trying to create that synergy. Eventually, when I get another upgrade, I can shuffle in more improved cards and also improve my ultimate ability, which if you know anything about this game, this is so key to making your deck work and taking down the boss. Low on the horizon, the blood-red sun casts long, trembling shadows behind you. The scalding wind stirs up fine sand that scratches your eyes. From the top of the red peaks, you gaze across the vertiginous gorges of the canyon that cut through the arid land. According to legend, this region was once lush and green. The sun wanted it to burn and left its colors behind on everything it could not devour. It's almost sunset as you descend towards the valley carved by a river that has long since dried up. The narrow path between the sandstone walls is blocked by a pile of debris from a rockfall further downstream. But beyond the fragments of stone, you can make out sections of a decorative frieze on a tall arch carved into the rock. The hope that Amara is still alive, trapped behind a landslide, causes you to rush towards the rubble and call out to her. "Hunters, I'm here!" a weak voice replies. It is so faint, it is immediately overwhelmed by another much louder sound. A deep roar coming from over your shoulder. Your shouting, the sound of rubble being loosed, your heavy footsteps, all that noise has attracted the attention of a monster, enraged by the invasion of its territory. A Toramat, its armored head poised for impact, is already charging towards you. Almost ready for battle. Here is the Toramat. Here are my characters. They both start in the front. We got 2 rocks over here, which are actually good for me. I can, when I suffer attrition damage, choose to have the rock suffer it instead. Got an healing herb over here. I can heal my weapon level if I start my turn there. Sand is bad. That will hinder my movement. This one is a plateau. It's really fun. You get to ride the beast when you're on there. I'll show you when I get there. Got the boss's stuff laid out over here. Got their cards, their stance, their initial power. They're going to have an objective that pops out in turn 2. They also have some set-aside cards that will come in as the scenario develops. So here's the big mechanical difference. It's not that big, but it does work a little bit differently. The monster hit points. Now, most monsters are going to have 10 hit points. Before, it was scaling. So it would be like, 10, 14, 24, depending on who was fighting it at player count. Instead, they've consolidated the system into a system of damage and wounds, separating those out. So now the damage scales. So in order to defeat Toramat in stance 1, I have to deal 4 damage per player. 8 damage will turn into 1 wound. If it was 4 players, it would be 16 damage turns into 1 wound. So the scaling is still there. They just kind of stagger things a little bit to consolidate. For the most part, damage does carry over. So if I happen to do like 10 damage on a turn, I would deal 1 wound and have 2 damage left here. However, that's where hardening comes in. I do not want this beast to be hardened because once it gets to the maximum over here, which is 3, and there's many effects that make it hardened, then damage will not carry over. Man, that's annoying. There's a lot of other little things to remember. Giving y'all a warning ahead of time. I'm probably going to miss stuff, activations and so forth, especially when it comes to the monster. I'll do the best that I can. All right, let's rock. So that may have been the longest that I have ever done an intro, 20 whole minutes leading up to the fight, but now we are ready. So I am starting in front with my 2 characters. The boss can only be hit on the sides and the flank. So I'm going to have to move right away if I want to do some damage, which I do. This card says, permanent at the end of the round, if Torment has one or more struggle, increase the hardening by 1. Hardening is that effect that removes spillover damage. So if I were to do 9 damage, 8 would go to the wound and 1 would disappear. We don't want that. We don't want to waste any damage whatsoever. So we're going to try to go an anti-struggle strategy. If this were any other round, I would take this card to 3 and discard it and put on the other one. But this is the first round, so we are just going to keep on going. So first thing that happens to the boss, they get 2 struggle. That is their currency to do badness, especially this boss. And then we check the cards to see what triggers. We start with this. This icon means that this will have to get pulled whenever a player starts their turn at the mouth. Place a dust token in the rear section, max 2 dust tokens per sector. That's not bad because there's nobody back there. The boss is kicking back up, trying to make a big dust cloud. This will disappear at the end of the turn, so I'm just going to take it away. No one's going to end up back there. Mathematically, I can't do it. You can only move 1 sector. This does do some damage in the attrition phase. It covers up a defensive token or a defensive card that is in the played card line. Don't have to worry about that. Whenever you finish a card, you always replace the top card of the deck with another one. And we have this Rampage card. Torment turns to the player with the highest number of threat in their hand. That player suffers a wound unless they reveal that green card. So they both have 1 threat. They're both in the same zone. So we're going to have Robert reveal their green card. They get rid of this Rampage. Don't have to deal with it. However, a red card is going to appear in the boss. So if I play a red card, which I'm going to, another card will appear. Man, this boss plays a lot of cards. I'm going to have Robert the Swordsman make the first move as the taunt player. I can't wait to make a stein of your head and drink blood out of it. Going to move to the side with playing 1 card, the Endurance card, for 1 stamina. Now I set up our card line. We start with 4 cards, and I can get started pretty quickly. So we are first going to play Slash the Flank. I'm in the flank, the sides. It says if you're in a flank sector, you may play a red card as the next card without paying its stamina cost. I'll take it. So first of all, I do that, which is the blue effect, which is to remove 1 struggle down from 2 to 1. Paying with it with this empty fade card. Yeah, we're going offense, baby. So this is free. We're going to go double slash. If the next card you play in your sequence is a red, reduces stamina cost by 1. I did it. So free to play. That is 4 weapon damage because that is the damage on my sword. That triggers this ability, which is Ancient Fury. Torment gains 1 struggle. The active player becomes threatened. Both of these are terrible things. Threatened means they're going to pull 2 cards, the attrition step. I'm already going to take 1 damage. I could choose to have the rock take the damage, but there's a couple of reasons that'll come up later why I might not want to, so hopefully it isn't too bad for me. And let's go with Dragon Strike. Dragon Strike doesn't do anything. It could assist, which is discard it on my partner's turn to get them a card draw, but I have my reasons. Reason the first, there is 8 damage total on this card. 8 damage is what it takes to make a wound, and so we have made a wound. I only have to do that 9 more times in order to gain victory. Just to let you know my options, I could have used this card to discard a top card of my deck. If it is a red, keep it. I had plenty of red. Discarding cards is not great because it goes through your deck faster, and in order to turn over your deck, you got to take a damage. We're not living that life. Speaking of saving on damage, I could have, by playing any of these cards, of the card that I played, I could suffer 1 damage to increase the damage the attack deals by 3. I think I'm sufficient for now. That's more of a closer thing. All right, so let's see how bad the damage is. We got the attrition phase now. So because I am now threatened because of that card, I have to pull 2 cards and take the worst one. They're the same one. The base cards are just normal 0, 1, or 2. These are special for Torment. I need to have a green in my sequence in order to block them. Don't have a green, going to take a damage. So that card gets replaced with a card, which is really important because order operations. So now it is the phase where the boss turns towards the aggro player. This is what the mat looks like when the boss turns toward the aggro player, which means I trigger both of these cards. Just to make that one official, now we trigger both of these cards. Tail Swipe. Each player in the rear sector suffers a wound unless they reveal a green. Nobody in the rear sector for now. If there are no players in the rear sector, players in the flank sectors are targeted instead. Ow! Damn it, Robert! I haven't even gone yet, and I'm taking injuries for you. No green card revealed, which means they take the damage. And the next one, remove a rock terrain from the rear sector. There is no rock terrain. Each player in that sector suffers a wound unless they discard a green. Don't have to worry about that. However, something that is sad but not all that unusual, I have gone through almost this entire deck in just one go with an unfortunate sequence of triggers. Part of the game is not triggering the boss so much, but I really felt like I wasn't in too much control of that, and that's the life you live when you're fighting Tormat. Cleanup time for Robert. They are going to discard their entire hand and draw a whole new 1 to 5. I got more offense, more struggle removal. That works for me. And also, should point this out, in order to flip my specialty, I'm halfway there because I played those 2 red cards. Do I have 2 red cards to play next turn? No. I love getting that early, but I'm going to have to rely on my companion or some other means if I want to get that going. So now my sword and shield guy goes. Ned is going to sneak in behind the back by discarding this blue. This would be struggle removal, which is really important, but I got another use for that. Undaunted charge. Remove 2 struggle. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Going to get rid of the 1-card battle trance, which is 2 struggle. Better when I have my shield master awake, which I'm working on right now. And so that removes these 2 struggle. Yes, the boss had started with 1. I didn't count it. I'm counting it now. And the sword and shield, when I play a yellow card, remove 1 struggle. Able to end the turn with no struggle on the boss. Man, that's good. Almost makes up for the fact that the boss played his entire deck during one player's turn. All right, so I got 2 cards left. I could hold here and get an extra stamina if I hold them, but I'm not going to do that. First of all, let's go ahead and play Rapid Dash. While this card is in the top of your discard pile, all players' weapons have +1 damage. So this sets up my friend for a next turn. We're going to play that right there. And oh, by the way, this is a retcon. I will have played this in the previous turn. I cannot play this on turn. Sorry about that. I'm filming. Please forgive me. I'm going to play this assist. This doesn't matter when I play it off turn. Just the assist, which gets my friend Robert another card. Oh, baby, another red. But let's finish off with this Rapid Dash, which is 2 damage on the boss. Their job is not damage. This gets discarded. In the order in which it was played in the sequence. So this is on top of the deck. So now I have +1 weapon damage going over to my compatriot. And neither of these cards had threat, so the boss is going to stay right where it is. So I had no shielding. It was no time. Actually, I did have 1 shield. So it is time to see if I took some attrition damage. Of course I did. That's just unfortunate. So that is another damage for good old Ned. That was 1 token on Shield Master. This is actually pretty hard to achieve, having to do that 3 times. Yellow, red, I did it once. So make sure I don't miss that. So we get a 5-card draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get it again? Nope. No yellow, but some blue. More struggle management for the next round. But, of course, the boss gets 1 more card play right at the end over here. Increase the hardening level by 1 unless the aggro player discards a blue from their hand. Aggro player is my swordsman. They have this card. Very expensive to play. Very attractive, but worth skipping the hardening step. Then if Tormat is hardened, don't worry about that. So watch what cheating garbage that this game is capable of. So I'm going to reshuffle and get a new card on the top of the deck, which is a turn card. So you see, get familiar with the cards right away. When the boss does that, that's called escalation. That gets them 1 struggle, which is total poop because I worked on not having any struggle because of this card. At the end of the round, if Tormat has 1 or more struggle, increase the hardening level by 1. It specifically says you deal with these cards first and then these cards in a row. So it's still the end of the round. They managed to increase their struggle by 1, or their hardening by 1, no matter what I did during this game. But that is a full round. On to round 2. All right, got round 2 marked over there. Monster stuff. First of all, we get the behavior refresh. Didn't do that in the first round. We're doing it now. Take 1 card and discard it, and bring in another card, which means he's going to do it again. Although, because I know what the cards are, I know what both these cards are, I can prepare for them, and hopefully they don't affect me. Then they get 2 more struggle, 2 more things that I want to remove for sure. And of course, I start at his face, so I get something for my face. The active player suffers a wound unless they reveal a green from their hand. If they do reveal one, remove an acceleration token. We'll get to acceleration tokens in a second. Right now, it is big old Robert, who does not have a green, unfortunately, so they take another wound. The good news about that is that I have this battle cry in my hand, which is the resilience keyword that allows me to draw another card. Perfect. You were too late to block that hit, but at least I got you now. So I'm going to use that card right now. It came with the perfect opportunity. Whenever you move, you get rid of threatened. I'm going to move back here. I bet I will do this fun thing, but we'll hold off on that until it actually triggers. So let's get some defense down there. Also turn it around, a little bit of offense. Voice of the Dragon. Reduce the stamina cost of each weapon you play this turn by 1 or each red card. I'm going to use my other yellow to pay for it. So now my next cards are free. And you know I'm going to play some red cards. First things first, we got Battle Cry, the card that got me the resilience. But this time it has Berserker on it, which means that not only do I do the weapon, when I play further red cards, I get to draw more cards. So let's get that down right now and deal 4 weapon damage. +1 because Rapidash is in Ned's discard pile. So we are piling on the damage today, baby.
Roar, we're gonna eat Toramat steak tonight. I hope you're hungry.
And we're going to play this not for its effect, because I'm not paying for it, but it is another 5 damage, which brings the beast to 10 damage total, 12 on it. So how it technically works is that you discard kind of 1 wound at a time. So then it would be down to 4, you take the 8, turn that into a wound. And let me enjoy that while it lasts, because they're going to get hardened pretty quickly. And also, because they have the Berserker effect up, they're going to draw a card. They have Reactive Guard. So at this point, I could keep on playing. Would not be bad to get rid of a Struggle token, because they have 3 sitting there. However, the benefit of ending with 2 cards in hand is that you end up with another stamina token to be used as currency in a future round. So I think I'm going to load up a nice turn now, setting up for a future round. Love it. And also, this was a little bit of a reckless play by me, but I got the red cards, focused on the red cards, and now have my 2/2 proc Relentless Assault. For the rest of the game, reduce the stamina cost of all red I play by 1. Time to eat good.
Hey, Ned, this beast will be done and dusted by noon.
It hasn't even changed stances yet. Don't be so overconfident.
Slash and burn.
Go ahead and check out that attrition phase. That is a 1. I got a shield down, blocked. So we are going to discard and then draw 3 cards. Hopefully we can get a green in our hand. Yep. Got ourselves a green ready to go. Ooh, I got my last 2 reds. Having the thinner deck, but predominantly red, is working out really well for me. And so whether or not I had played this aggro card, I would have kept the token, which means that the beastie turns towards me. And you know what that means. Multiple card triggers off of Tormat's mat. All right, as usual, lots of procs. Okay, first of all, remove a rock terrain from the rear sector. Finally got a rock. That's unfortunate. I don't know if I'll miss it or not. We'll see. Each player in that sector suffers a wound unless they discard a green from their hand. No players in that sector. That's number 1. All right, so I don't know if I showed this on camera, but this stupid card popped out. So I got to deal with it. All right. Toramat turns to the player with the highest number of threat in their hand. That player suffers a wound unless they reveal a green. By far, that would be Ned. Ned has a whole bunch of threat. I built their deck that way. So they are going to turn. But I got the green in my hand, so I'm able to block it. Excellent. Tail swipe. Each player in the rear suffers a wound unless they reveal a green. If there are no players in the rear sector, players in the flank sectors are targeted. That would be Robert. Robert drew a green, which is what I wanted. And so I came out of that barrage of cards relatively unscathed.
Sir Robert, you didn't even bother getting rid of any tokens? Do I have to do everything around here? I did 10 damage, you sourpuss. We're gonna eat good tonight.
Ugh, you and the eating. I begin the turn. I am not going to move. I am going to get the threatened token, which puts me at a little bit of extra risk, but I think that's okay. The one thing is, this would cost me 2 stamina to move out. I don't have a pressing reason to move out. And starting my turn in this square with this particular herb lets me heal. The healing is according to my weapon level. For some reason, plants interact with weapons in this world. We'll take it. So let's go ahead and get busy with that struggle removal. We're going to cost 2 stamina on that one and grab the aggro token back. So they are going to begin the next turn. Let's get rid of a struggle, bringing the beastie down to 2. It is an opener, so before I do that, let me go ahead and get rid of these 2 cards. Anticipate and Shield Dance, definitely not playing red with a red card out there. Let's go ahead and pull 2 more cards. We have Tactical Evade, search my discard pile for an assist. Ooh. That's pretty nice. And Stamina Surge. When I discard this card to generate stamina for a red, it generates double. No reds. Not even close to reds. So this is pretty sweet. Look at this bulwark right here. Increase struggle mover by 1. That alone is enough reason to play it. Or if I hold onto it, I can discard it and accomplish something else. I think I want to set up some defense this turn. So let's go ahead and just discard that and get agility, because if I discard a blue, I draw another 2. So just having cards in hand is always good. And, I got the magic recipe to increase my shield mastery. Let's see if that's worth it. Nah, being too offensive can be painful. So let's instead play Tactical Evade, search my discard pile for a card with assist and add it to my hand. And I'm going to pay for it with... I can pay for it with Last Breath. That's okay. All right, so discard pile. We have something with assist. This is the only card that does that aggro strike. So let's go ahead and just ditch it right now. We're going to play assist and have our friend Robert draw another card. You're welcome, lad. You think you're from the Highlands? Why is that accent coming in and out? I talk like this when I'm behind the shield, Robert. Just focus on the monster. Card I drew is Heavy Clash. Remove 1 struggle token. Finally, can help out with that. So I got this combination of cards. Not really useful for me right now. So let's go ahead and have Ned add their own struggle token for currency later. Sorry, stamina token, 2 S words, that's going to happen. So the attrition phase means that I pull 2 cards out of here, and that's why I did it! Because I'm threatened, got smoked the 2 out. I think the rest of the deck are 1s and 0s. Fantastic. The end of the attrition phase, I still got to deal with this thing. Stonewall, increase the hardening by 1, of course. So the boss is fully hardened at this point. That stinks. Then if it's hardened, it gains another struggle, bringing it up to 3. The active player suffers a wound unless they have a green in their sequence. That's why I did it. I knew this was coming, so at least I prepared for that damage-wise. We discard the cards over here. Let's draw 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Another green, always good. Counterattack, shield block. I'd have my combo if I want to. Ooh, look at that. No stamina use at all. So Shield Master is going to get progressed next turn. Hopefully I can manage that. End of round, of course, they're going to play yet another card. Increase the hardening level by 1. They're already at max hardening, whatever. And if Toramat is hardened, it gains 1 more struggle. So it is bringing it up to 4, which sucks. I'll show you why that sucks at the beginning of next round. And so I had to reshuffle again, went through its whole deck again, which means it gets another struggle token, which I imagine that is just part of the boss design because this boss likes getting struggle tokens, but it is quite fiddly on the table. Nevertheless, on to round 3. All right, so zooming back out, there is the current state of play. We are on round 3. We begin with the monster. Cycles the lowest card in their deck, which is the attrition card, and then brings out this cycle. Then they get 2 struggle tokens. That brings them to 7. At 6, they do their thing. So this is called the upsurge or the uprising or something like that. Unleash. I knew it was a U word. They discard down to 1 per player tokens, and they deal each character a wound. So that is the other reason why struggle is bad. So I need to do a little bit better job of managing the struggle. Of course, can't just go. There's always a monster card to deal with. Should be familiar by now. Place a dust token in the rear section. Nobody in the rear section, so I'm not going to bother because it only lasts a round. So Robert, I didn't specify this last time, but they ended up on the plateau. They are ready to strike right at the end of Ned's turn. Ned starts in the area with a healing herb, so they are going to heal the wound that they just took. Fantastic. They are going to discard 2 cards because they are in the sand, get rid of this threatened, and move over into the flank. So I have a bunch of cards that cost 0. Let's do it. Love to see that. All right, first of all, shield block. This is a card that does all sorts of other stuff. They're just going to lay that down to get that shield up. And when I lay yellow cards down, remove 1 struggle. And now we're going to go beyond the limit for the sake of our buddy Robert again. I hope you appreciate me, you fat fool. You know you love me. Give me more. All right, I can, we'll deal on my weapon damage, which is 2. I can suffer 1 damage. If I do, to increase the damage this attack deals by 2 and choose a player to draw 1. So let's do that. I'm going to have that damage comes back. I'm now up to 2 damage again. Robert is going to draw 1, which is a nice shield card. That'll come in handy. And 2 plus 2 is 4 damage. That brings them to exactly 8 with the harden. That's really important because the overflow damage doesn't go anywhere. So let's go ahead, injure the boss, bring them to 7, which unlocks stance number 2. All right, what happens? Tormat gains a struggle. Of course they gain a struggle. They're up to 2. They can still be only hit on the non-front, the other sides. This goes away. It's gone. It's basically done at this point because he's already hardened. We unlock the objective. Permanent. At the start of a player's turn, the player may reveal 2 threat cards in their hand. If they do, place a counter. When there's 2 counters in this game, move this card from the game and place Crashing Charge onto the behavior deck. Crashing Charge is the only way to harden the boss. It makes them crash somewhere. They kind of get disoriented. So if I want to set this up, I need to be mindful. And Tormat gains 1 acceleration. Acceleration is a token that gets them more struggle. So basically, they're going to be executing their wounds every round and hitting for 2 this time, not 1. Hopefully, I am beefed up enough so I can start to really buzz them down. Speaking of beefed up, we are 2/3 of the way towards shield mastery now. And there's a lot of great ways to use this last card in my hand. I could hold on to it when I suffer a wound. I can discard and deal damage. But the other character, my friend Robert, is going to be dealing the damage. Let me go ahead and remove a struggle with that for free instead. When I played this red card, this is so much that you have to keep track of. This card came into play. Tormat gains a struggle. That is how it goes. And the active player becomes threatened, which means I'm pulling those 2 cards. I only have 1 shield. I have a decent chance at avoiding damage. Let's see. 0 and 1. The last 2 cards in the deck, I believe, are 0 and 3. All right, so let us discard everything and draw back up to 5. Do we have to reshuffle yet? Not quite. We are still close to the bottom of the deck, but not there. Got more shield. That'll come in handy. No red. Unfortunately, I think this last card is a red. Is the last card a red? No, there's 2 cards in here. Both reds. So I'm going to see if I can get some card draw out of this and get my last shield mastery next turn. So you know how it goes. Look what happens. We are going to reveal 1 of these at a time. All right, smash. Remove a rock from the rear sector. No one's in the rear sector. I've been making sure of that. And so that gets filled over here. But from my understanding, this does not trigger this turn because it wasn't on there when the beginning of the triggers happen. So I'm just going to sit there. That rule might be incorrect. It might trigger anyway. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Okay, tail swipe. Each player in the rear suffers a wound unless they reveal a green. That also happens in the flank. But Robert has a green, no problem. It's going to get triggered anyway. Who cares? Because with the turn of the monster towards here, now who is in the tail section? Robert. Let's see what happens. The active player discards a weapon card from their hand. No way. And now we get to check out riding. So now we have Robert in the plateau. They are going to hop on the attack, hopping on the tail, basically. Right here, that cancels the card. That is the first step of riding. So the second step is take the top card of the attrition deck and a card from the player deck and compare values. This is 1 stamina and this is 1 attrition. So it is a match, which means I successfully ride the beast. Both of those cards get discarded. That's not very happy for me. And so from this area, I get to choose where I land. That is going to be right here. All of that is start of turn. Guess what is also happening in start of turn? Heal 1. I was waiting for that. Believe me, people, you have no idea how much I stood here and planned all that out. I feel really good about that. Here's what I don't feel good about. A reshuffle, which triggers an escalation, a third token for the boss, and they are going to put another card back. And in addition, they are going to play this, which is the Rampage card. Torment turns to the player with the highest number of threat in their hand. Player suffers a wound unless they show a green. They both have green, so I'm not worried about that. Where are they going to turn? This is Ned's hand. They have 2, so they are going to stay right where they are. Beautiful. Well, that's what I call tanking. You're a really sexy tank, Netty boy. And oh, by the way, one more thing. When the monster popped off their unleash and dealt out a wound, guess what I have in my hand? Resilience. Have to have it in my hand. I draw another one. Look at all these cards I have to play. Fantastic. So I didn't know if this turn was going to be as big as it was, but everything's coming together. Ho, ho, ho. Let's make it happen. And so we are going to start with Ned. Actually, they are going to discard this battle plan or this attack plan. They still have a yellow to play, so that's okay. That assist lets Robert reshuffle his deck, which is not that good an idea to fly through the deck so fast. Because every time you reshuffle, you take level of a weapon in damage. So I have a level 1 weapon, 1 damage, but I think it's worth it. Slash the flank, because where I am. Okay, this might be huge. I have to be really careful here. Watch out for any errors. First of all, let's do evasive step. Search your deck for a red and add it to your hand. Then reshuffle your deck. I am going to pay with this quick attack, which means when I discard this card from my hand for any reason, I'm discarding it now, deal your base weapon damage. Base weapon damage being 4, 12 is necessary in order to inflict the next wound at this stance number 2. That is going to be double slash. If the next card I play in my sequence is that, reduce stamina cost by 1. This costs 0 to play because I have my Relentless Assault up. So, second card is going to be Heavy Clash, which is improving my shield. So you see, I know I'm going to get to 3 this turn, so I'm setting up so I can have that shield happen at a perfect time. I'm going to get rid of Deflecting Blade for that. That removes 1 struggle token, bringing him down to 2. Next card is going to guard me. So reactive guard, resilience. Let's go ahead and get rid of Precise Strike for that. Really good card, but expensive. It inflicts vulnerable. As a hardened creature, it is immune to vulnerable, so less useful, unfortunately. Next up is Double Slash, which will deal weapon damage. Next card I play in my sequence reduces stamina on that 1 by 1. Deals weapon damage. Brings the boss from 4 to 8. And also, because of Reactive Guard, I get to draw 1, which is another red. Can't believe that. Berserker and Resilience. Could have used Berserker earlier. That's okay. So we're going to retcon this just a little bit because it is stupid hardened. So instead of Quick Attack, I'm actually going to have discarded Rapid Slash, which I had in my hand. So it doesn't really change anything. So the boss only is down 4. The reason why that matters is because I am going to lay down the Massive Strike. So I can only play this card after a red. There's the red. I deal weapon damage plus 5 with this. That grabs me the aggro token, which is, it is what it is. I discard this card, slash the flank, and the spare stamina token that I had, because I have a 2 token discount. That deals another 9 damage, which is 13, which is enough to get them another wound. Clears out. I only have 1 left over. I won't miss it. Gotta love turns where I do big damage and I put up big defensive shield. You're welcome, you fat fool. Quit calling me that. I've been on a diet. Except for tonight. And so thinking through turns like that is why this game is so much fun, despite all of the boss shenanigans. All right, so first of all, we deal with the attrition step. We know this is a 3. I got my 3. Boom. They were weakened because they started the turn there and didn't move, so they have to pull the other attrition card. Shuffle the deck. I discarded a 2, which is actually really helpful. Takes that out of the deck without effect. I get my stamina token back because I ended up with 2 cards in my hand. Even if I wanted to play them, I couldn't because finisher, finisher means that there has to be the last card in your row. And so finally, that is the end of turn. And you know what happens? Another card gets pulled. But you see what's happening at this point. I know what cards are triggering when. Make sure there's no one in the rear, basically. So remove a rock terrain. I already did. Nobody's in that terrain, so nothing happens. And another card gets dealt. And that is the end of round 3. All right, so here we go. Round 4. First, we discard that card. We get the attrition card. Should all be familiar by now. And then we add 2 more struggle tokens, adding up to 4 for the boss. So Robert, the Destroyer of Worlds, is starting in the mouth, but if I remember correctly, the mouth but isn't so bad. Suffers wound unless they reveal a green from their hand. If they reveal one, remove an acceleration token. So they might have had one. This happens so much. So if they had one, consider it removed. And check that out. They have the rainbow. Taste the rainbow in their hand. A little bit of everything. So then that card goes there. We are ready to begin Robert's turn. Robert likes the idea of starting their turn in the herb section. I'm not sure why they call it the herb section, but that's okay. Do they want to start there again and stay threatened? Threatened is not so bad. If I play these 2 defensive cards, then maybe it'd be worth it. Let's see. Yes, let's put up some defense. We're going to stay there one more time. Robert flies through his deck so fast. These wounds will pile up, so staying and where there's healing is good. So they're going to stay here and stay threatened. Problem being that cannot be a place of attack because you can't attack the head. Big bulbous thing. Ned is there for the backup. Here comes Taunt. We're going to discard that. That lets Robert draw a card, bringing them up to 6. A green card for a little bit of defense. Turn towards there. They take the aggro token. Beautiful. First things first, defense. Swift dodge. Reduce the stamina cost of your next card you play by 1. Going to play with that. This time I actually will use quick attack, which will let me deal weapon damage. 4 damage to the boss. Next up, some more defense. We're going to play Voice of the Dragon. Reduce the stamina cost of further red cards. And this was free, or this made this free. So now I have 2 defense up. I get a discount because of my awesome stance. So Dragon Strike, we get to deal more weapon damage and draw another card. That card is going to be Blade Reflex, another green. And let's finish it off with Battle Cry. 8 plus 4 is 12. No damage left over. The boss is now down to 5. Halfway there. Oh yeah, and set up to do a lot more. Robert ends the hand with 2 cards in their hand, but they already had their stamina token. Just discard and redraw. But first, we have to do the attrition step. It is a 2 and a 1. That is no match for my planning. Ha ha ha! No damage here. Fantastic. So that gets discarded, and then I draw another 3. That's why I'm staying in the herb area. This is going to get really hurtful. I only have 1 card in my deck once again, and plenty of green, so I will be able to kind of put up shield, counterattack, put up shield, counterattack. Hopefully that leads me to victory. So this card triggered at the end of that attrition step. Stone Wall, increase the hardened level by 1, who cares? They do get a struggle, bringing them up to 5, so they'll probably fire off that effect next turn, which will hit me for 2 wounds. That's not great. The active player suffers a wound unless they have a green in their sequence. You know I made sure of that. That is out. So now red gets dealt into Tormat's row. They are going to turn because Dragon Strike over here, when I played that actually got me the aggro token, so we turn towards the aggro token. Guess what this is? Each player in a rear sector suffers a wound unless they reveal that. Then it attacks them in the flank. Ned is down to 3 cards because of all the assisting they did. It was worth it. They managed to keep a green card, so that doesn't affect them either. So the bot plays a lot of cards, but if you plan for them, it's okay. It's just the running of it can be really annoying. Getting to the point of having facility with it, knowing the ins and outs. That took a while, but now that I'm there, this is pretty fun. All right, so this is going to be quite the weenie turn. There's things that I can do to improve it. So Robert has the ability to assist and make them draw again. I think I am just going to hunker down, make this defensive, build up for later. So let's go ahead and play Perseverance, paying for that with Immolate, and we draw a card. One of the 2 reds that I have, that's fine. But then I'm going to discard that and pay for Surround, which is this maneuver removes 1 struggle token for each occupied sector. There are 2 occupied sectors, so we are going to remove 2 tokens. So I didn't move, so I'm still threatened. Here comes that painful attrition step. Let's see what happens. I was getting hurt no matter what. At least I got big cards out of the way. They deal their wound damage on that. And so they are down from 10 to 6. Once they get to 5, they can draw the extra critical, so that is not bad. Plus, I'm halfway through the boss, and I'm kind of cooking at this point, so I'm feeling okay. Wait a minute. I drew my 1 card. I have to reshuffle. Ow! All that means at the start of their turn, they're going to draw an extra card. Hopefully I got a yellow in this draw. I did, and I got the cheap one. Here comes Shield Master next turn. So now we are at end of round. Hardening. Increase the hardening by 1. Too bad, they're already hardened. Then it gains 1 more struggle, so they are going to do that effect with the wounds next turn, which is we're going to have to rely on that healing plant, aren't we? And in addition, we are going to do the escalation, which means that they are going to get the acceleration token, which doesn't matter right now. They would have gotten the unleash regardless. Just another pain in the butt to deal with. On to round 5. All right, beginning of the turn, boss stuff. Get rid of that card. We put that annoying card there. The monster gets their struggle tokens and discards down to 2 to deal out 2 wounds. Ow! Ow! 7 out of 10 is terrible news. And they have no self-healing herb. Save me! And of course, Robert's turn. We're going to play 2 cards from the deck. Place a dust token in the rear sector. I've avoided the rear sector, so I'm not going to bother. Let's go ahead and play the Rampage. Torment turns to the player with the highest number of threat in their hand. That would be Ned, whose job it is to carry threat. They both have 1, so I'm just going to keep it at Ned right there. And they have a green, so I don't have to worry about that either. What am I talking about? Stay where they are. I meant move them. There you go. All right, so we are going to start with a green, get up more defense. There is no better deal than endurance. I have my stance up, which means I draw 2 cards. Let me pay for that with Empty Fade. Go here. Oh, wait a minute. I started in the herb section. I heal 1. I have to reshuffle. I get it back. Come on, red. Come on, red. That's a red. Dragon Strike. I like the sound of that. Great. At this point, I can rely on Ned to take care of that struggle. So let us go ahead and just play Counter-Strike. That is 1, and I get rid of Blade Reflex to pay for that. If I play a red card after that, I increase damage on that attack by 3, which you know is going to happen. The aforementioned Dragon Strike. So nice combination right there. So that is a 7 damage strike, and that also lets me draw a card, another Empty Fade. I just discarded you. How'd you get back here so fast? Ah, chunk, chunk, chunk. Ah, I bathe in your blood, which I will drink tonight. So these are the cards in my hand. I actually have 2 threat in my hand right now. So this card, which I bet you all forgot about, start of a player's turn. Wait a minute, start of a player's turn. Never mind. This is how you add Crashing Charge, which takes off Hardened. But I think I'm successfully dodging around it. Speaking of, let's see it again. All right, so Empty Fade, you may pay a card, play a card with slash the next card in your sequence without paying its stamina cost. Let's use my token for that. Look at that, that's a slash card. Pressing Strike, draw 2. I said I wasn't going to play any stamina removal, but that's okay. Can never have enough, get out of here. That lets me draw 2. I have a pretty good chance of getting at least 1 weapon card. I got 2. Ho, 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 and I got the finisher as well. You know what? YOLO. Double slash, that's free. That is some straight up weapon damage. That brings the boss to 11. So we are going to use Flame Tongue to get that wound in. So I can suffer a damage, and if I do, increase the damage by 3. So that brings me to 5 out of 10 hit points. I'm halfway there. But that cleans out the boss. of their current damage. They are going to go down to 4 health points, and that brings them to stance number 3. 18 points to do some damage, so I better get busy. When revealed, place out of control on top of the behavior deck. Move the plateau terrain from the board. Womp, womp, womp. Then place 2 rock terrains on that sector and in each adjacent one. So we get new rocks around, so maybe I can unharden, maybe. The good news is that this boss doesn't escalate to 3 damage. I think later iterations do that. It's still 2 wounds. I can take that. Famous last words, people. I know. Famous last words. And so, somewhere in there, this card got played. Torrent gains 1 struggle. Gain struggle. That's no good. Good thing I used that anti-struggle thing. The active player comes threatened. Ha! I've been threatened the whole time. It doesn't matter to me. And so Ned has to come in with the assist. Unfortunately, hopefully I get a 2. I do not get a 2. I get a 1. So that is 1 and 1. These cards are going to get discarded so that I can execute my finisher for 9 total damage. There we go. 9 total damage. That is the end of the turn. I got plenty of defense for the attrition step. Let's see what I get. 1 and 1. So I have plenty. So that is fine on the shielding. Here we go with the attrition. Increase hardening. Who cares? The active player suffers wound unless they have a green. I have been managing this. That's been great. So now we discard this whole rigmarole. Draw up to 5 cards, getting dangerously close to having to, take more wounds. But as long as I survive with 1 hit point, I'm okay. And I got the key green, which will offer some defense. Boss turns. Here we go. All right. Each player suffers whatever. Green in the hand. Nothing happens. Stuff happens in the rear. There's nobody in the rear. I've been really careful about that. Unfortunately, that triggers a reshuffle yet again, and that is an acceleration. So they're going to get 2 tokens at the beginning of their turn, extra tokens, so they get 4 total. And look at that, right back on the top of the deck. More humble turns for Ned. They have the 4 cards because they had to discard for an assist, but they are going to draw because they are below. And they draw another green, which is great. So let's go ahead and play Perseverance, discarding a tactical evade, and draw another card. Yay. I can't even talk anymore. Yellow. Not because yellow is defense, yellow is struggle removal. So let's just play straight up. This might as well be blank. This is kind of a defensive card. Don't worry about that. That will remove a struggle because of the shield power. Let's play Beyond Limits. I'm in the flank. If I suffer damage, I will do more damage. We're not living that life. Instead, that injures the monster for 2 plank, bringing them to 11 out of 18 necessary to tip them over. Guess what I did, people? I focused my mastery. I am finally a shield master. Now you get to behold the goodness. Every time I play a yellow card, which you know is going to happen every single time now, deal 2 damage. And then if I play a yellow and a red, increase the amount of damage by 3. So right on time as we are getting into the nitty gritty, unlocking damage potential. So now the last one is attack plan. Does a couple of things. First of all, is going to be that which removes a struggle and deals 2 damage. Delicious. And also, while this card is the top card of my discard, it will be because it's the last card. Any damage dealt to the monster by any source is increased by 1. So Robert is licking his chops. I did not play any threat cards, so the threat stays with Robert, which we pointed at the sand place. Remove 1 struggle, get 1 or 2 damage tokens on there. Welcome to the fight, you crotchety bastard! Do you see it in my armor? I've been here the whole time. So I got 1 card that is not going to get me the stamina, although I haven't had to spend this, so I still have it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 4 cards. Doesn't really matter. I got, these are the 2 cards that matter for now, yellow and green. I got 1 of each. I think I was supposed to put that Crashing Torment on there a little while ago. Sorry about that. I'm not going to retcon it. I'll just have it now. Anyway, so let's go ahead and just do end of turn stuff. Increase the hardening. Who cares? It gains 1 struggle. So one little struggle, not enough to do the attack at the beginning of the turn, which is great. So that card is going to come here onto round 6. I apologize if I forgot to do the attrition step a couple times along the way. I just forgot it for Ned, so let's go ahead and retcon it. It doesn't matter because I know the good cards for me are at the bottom of the deck. I got 1. I know exactly what it is, a 1, so I don't have to be as careful. Or maybe I do because I'm going to stay threatened. You see, threatened isn't that bad as long as you put a lot of defense down there. Boss is going to go for the beginning phase. They're going to get rid of 1 rotate card and put another one on. I've been handling these pretty well, so I'm not that upset about that. Boss is going to go. They are going to get their 4 stamina tokens because of the acceleration. And I started in the front, so let's go ahead and see what's going on here. The active player suffers wound unless they reveal a thing from their hand. Fantastic. Green. If they do, remove an acceleration token. Not the worst thing in the world. So we have that card goes on top. And they started in the herb garden, so they are going to heal a wound. Fabulous. All right, so we are going to do a setup turn. So we are going to get rid of swift dodge and quick attack. So interesting rules wrinkle. When you discard a card from your hand, deal your base weapon damage. I normally can't deal damage to the head, but that's with attack cards. The rules are very specific about that. Doesn't say they can't take damage, so I kind of find a little chink in the armor. Ow! There you go. We move, and we finally remove threatened. So that puts the boss at 17. Let's go ahead and lay down some defense and finish it off.
Even my setup turns are devastating.
All right, so we are going to deal that much damage. No carryover, and the wound is down to 3. I think I've managed my wounds really effectively. I may not need potions. But then again, the boss is in their final stance. I probably shouldn't say anything. So I draw the rest of my hand. I got that key green. Fantastic. Boss is going to turn towards the aggro player. That triggers this tail swipe. Each player in the rear suffers wound, if not in the flank. Unless they have the green. They have the green. No sweat. And a red is going to go in the monster area. I may not play a red this turn. All right, I am in critical health. Let's pull another card. Draw to danger. Taunt. Increase the struggle. This maneuver removes by 1. Maybe. But I do not have any other taunts, so I still can't shuffle in the card that lets me remove hardening. Although I've worked around hardening, so I'm okay. Retcon, that was Robert's attrition pull. He blocked it, and now I reshuffle. Hopefully I remember the attrition, because the boss does so much stuff. I often forget the attrition. Let me not do that for the rest of the game. So I'm actually not going to use this, but it is a neat card to be able to move into the sector and begin healing. And so let's start using that shield, baby. Undaunted charge. It is expensive, but worth it. Remove 2 struggle in addition to the base weapon, which is 3. Confuse the monster. They're hardened. I don't know why a hardened monster can't be confused. Confuse me, you could turn it to whatever zone you want. I don't need to turn it, but still, I should be able to confuse it. Can't. All other players draw 1. Don't mind if I do. That's a reshuffle from Robert. That is an additional damage. Ow! Worth it. Robert gets yellow. I pay for that with Anticipate and Surround. And that removes 3 struggle, bringing the boss down to 2. Boss is now down to 1 struggle because of tempo. Did not have to spend a stamina on that. Don't have to spend a stamina on this either. Taunt. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot about that. Whenever I pay yellow, I also do damage. Yay! 2 damage because of the mastery. So here's an interesting dilemma. I got Rapid Dash over here. It costs 0 to play. And would do, a nice little shot, 2 damage. And allow me to remove another struggle. But I know that the red card on Tormat's mat would just put that struggle back. So is 2 damage really worth it? Plus whatever else the card does? Nah, we're going to hold off on that. And just discard and pick up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully I get a nice green. I got 2 greens. No aggro though. Where did it all go? Not going to forget the attrition step this time. I had 1 in there. This needs to be a 1 or a 0, which is actually odds on. And it is a 1. That works for me. And for the first time in forever, I go a turn without triggering anything. On to round 7. All right, start of turn stuff. First of all, we discard this thing. This is the card that got added, which does a lot of damage, but I was able to dodge it because it triggers whenever the aggro moves, and the aggro didn't move. So we are good to go. So that one gets played right there. The boss is going to get his usual 4. 3, 4. That is not 6. Managing that pretty good. And start of Robert's turn of pawing the ground, place a dust token in the rear sector. I've avoided the rear. Dust token is going to go away. I am feeling really good. Famous last words. Robert has to move to the side because you can't attack in the front. And now in stance 3, you can't attack in the back either. With a discard reactive guard for that. First of all, we're going to go with Evasive Step, paying Heavy Clash for it. Yep, 2 stamina, but that's okay. I know exactly what I want, which is going to be Double Slash that goes in my hand. I can play it for free because of my stance or my mastery. And that deals 4 damage and gets me a discount on the next one. Next one is Precise Strike. Would inflict vulnerable, but that makes sense that a hardened creature would not be vulnerable. Vulnerable is awesome. That's double damage, but can't do it. And it's only 1 cost now, so we are going to just get rid of Counter-Strike for that and deal another 4 damage. Just in case you are wondering, now the boss is at 10 damage. When they get to 18, then I'll have them down to 2 health. Getting there. We're also going to play this, but to be a winner. Team player. We are going to play that for the assist. Oh, thank you, big man. I'm ready to rumble. We got 1 green down for the assist. I made sure that happens. That's too bad. I finally got dealt attrition damage, which is the wound damage over here, which is 2. But we are going to remember rules. That hits a rock instead. And next turn is going to be pretty awesome. So Nutty Boy has 6 cards. They're in critical health, so they get a 7. Woohoo! Struggle removal. Opening draw 2. Don't mind if I do. Boss has a card that they play at the end of the attrition phase. Stone Wall. Don't worry about the hardening. Active player suffers wounds unless they have a green in their sequence. Yeah, I make sure I have a green in my sequence basically every time. So here's something fascinating. They're at the end of their deck. If they did the escalation, they would get another token, which would inflict 2 wounds. So I need to make sure I don't trigger stuff before I lower their struggle count. Just so happen to have gotten the perfect card for that. We are going to push, which lowers by 1. And unfortunately grabs the aggro token, but what are you going to do about that? Lets them draw 2. Draw 2 is Agility and Immolate. Let's go ahead and play Agility right now. I'm going to play that, and we're going to pay with a blue, which lets me draw 2. Now we're getting in on the action. They're feeling pretty good because they started the section in the Herb Garden. They're going to get that back because they're going to draw through their deck. It is Battle, Trance, and Bulwark. Hey, look at that. Draw 2. Why not? Yeah, that's going to have to happen. We all know the goodness of playing all the yellows, so let's do it. So that is going to be an attack for 2, a 1 struggle removal. We are going to draw 1 Shield Dance, 2 Shielded Strike. My deck is now empty. The next time I have to draw, I will take a wound, but I'm in the Herb Garden. Feeling much better about that. Still have not triggered the red. Believe me, that's coming. Down to 3 tokens. Up to 12 damage. Need to do 6 more in order to flip this thing. All right, time to strike. Aggro Strike increases damage. The attack deals by 1 for each threat in my discard pile. I have 2. I counted them, so that is 4 damage total. 4 damage total brings me to 16. I like the attacks that my Sword and Shield guy can do because that gets around the harden. There won't be a lot of overflow. That's great. But I did play this. They gain struggle and they become threatened. Haha, I'm already threatened. You can't bother me. We are going to reshuffle that. And that gets 1 token back. Already at the max acceleration. I haven't gotten another way to get rid of that. And that gets filled. Whoa, sorry about that. We have the Rampage effect going on. Torment turns to the player with the highest number of wounds in hand. That player suffers a wound unless they reveal a green. And so this is where this game can kiss my butt. Look how many cards I have in my hand. Clearly, I have all of the threat generator in my hand. So they are going to do that. I have the green. I have plenty of everything in my hand. However, I'm out of movement and I can't hurt the head with red attacks. Boo earns. But just because I can't play red card doesn't mean I can't wreck some stuff. Let's go ahead and play Immolate. That is 3 defensive cards that protects me against attrition, which is great because I'm threatened. Remove 1 struggle and deal 2 damage because that's a part of the power, not a red card. Choose another player to draw 1. Fantastic. Setting them up for next turn too. Oh, Surgical Strike. 5, 10, 15, 16 plus 2 is 18. Brrr. That is a wound. We are that much left to victory. So I spent my stamina token on that. I'm going to get that token back because look at all the cards that I cannot play. Although I may get a taunt in there just to set things up. All right. Oh, I've been waiting to play this. You know it. Last Breath. Deal damage to the monster equal to the damage you currently sustain. Boom. So we are going to get rid of Faint and Stamina Surge to play that. Don't need it because I got the green in there and lots of defense. I have 6 wounds on me, so that is 6 plus 2 from the mastery. So 8 damage total. What was that? I can't believe you're doing that. Slow and steady wins the race, Robert. Slow and steady wins the... I know. Now, with 2 consecutive yellow cards I play, so that is 2 struggle removed down to 1. He won't hit us with wounds next turn from the Uprising. Yeah, buddy. Let's go ahead and check that attrition. Draw 2 cards. I got the special 1 and the 3. This is really good. I end up blocking both of these and getting them out of the deck. How amazing is that? We're going to discard all of these cards. That's going to end up on top, which isn't that useful. Oh, well. Reshuffle. Which is another damage, which brings me to 7. I'm ready to use the potion whenever that comes along. I have 4 cards in hand, so I only draw 1. And that's a green. Always important to have a green in hand. You saw why. The boss did not move. Nothing else triggered. Hallelujah. On to round 8. We are getting down to the nitty gritty. We only have 3 more rounds, but I am halfway to getting him to 1, and I'm okay with everything else I got going on. All right, so that is a 1. That gets get rid of that. We play the card right there. They get 4 tokens, which I've been really good since the beginning about managing. So they are at 5 tokens, not 6. They don't pop off with their big wound attack. It is Ned's turn. This has been amazing armor. I love that. Unfortunately, I did not get a yellow. Really needed a yellow. That's too bad. But at the very least, I did get Faint. So I do have a chance to get something. Okay, so Tactical Evade. Let's do that first. In my discard pile, I don't have a discard pile right now. That's a shame. But if I use Faint to pay for stuff, I get to draw a card. Still not a... Still not a yellow. I'll live with it. And oh, by the way, I know I do this out of order sometimes. I use Shielding Strike. I needed to have used the 2 wound thing to move, but not before I get the healing from the Herb Garden. I'm pretty damaged, so I'm going to get the coverage from the rock against that attrition damage back there. More stuff I forgot. Sorry, this came off the board at the beginning of the turn for starting near the mouth. Place a dust token. That kind of matters. For them, that means really they're going to move. They were going to move anyway, but the dust token is there officially. So just to cover myself on the attrition, I'm going to play Stamina Surge, but for the actual protection. So now I have 2 symbols. There's that only 3 in the discard. I'm going to pay Bulwark for it. Should use this to get rid of struggle, but I think this turn I'm just going to have to eat it because I don't have enough struggle removal. Oh well. So now we play these 2 cards. This is free. This is free because of my mastery. That is 2 damage. Text doesn't really matter except for Rapid Dash, just showing a bit. That's 4 damage total. That brings the boss to 12 damage out of 18. Robert can take care of that, can he? Playing those red cards triggered this. Tomac gains 1 struggle, of course. Active player becomes threatened. That's why I played the extra card. Unfortunately, the boss does do their big Unleash attack. That is for 2 damage. So we are going to get to 8 damage on Ned and 7 damage on Robert over here. We're coming down to the nitty gritty. You better have a good turn left in you. That card gets placed over here. We pull 2 for the attrition. I knew it was going to be not a 3, so I am protected. We go ahead and discard that. Draw up to 5 again, which is going to be 6. Hopefully that is another yellow that comes in. At least I got the 1. The attrition card goes. I know what the attrition card is. It gains that much struggle, so it's up to 3 struggle again. Have to watch that. And the active player suffers a wound unless they have a green in the sequence. They do. Of course they do. And y'all know this dance. It should be familiar by now. That turns, which triggers both of these things, neither of which matter. So each player in the sector in the rear, no sector in the rear. Each player in the sector in the rear, no sector in the rear. That the player in the flank has green, so neither of these cards do anything. Fantastic. All right, we're getting out to the nitty gritty. So nitty gritty, it's time to use the helm. Action, discard a top card of your deck. If it is a red, add it to your hand. I have a couple of reds in here. It is a red, and it's the good red. Yes! Let's rock. I also have 1 assist card from Ned. Let's see if I need it. So first of all, we're going to discard a Blade Reflex to move out of the dust zone and be in the flank. And, oh, by the way, I keep on forgetting to do this. You're going to see that a lot in this game. I had a card with Resilience in my hand. When he did the Unleash, he gave a wound. So now I reveal that card to Resilience to draw 1. Oh yeah, Empty Fade, fantastic. Look at the size of this hand. So first of all, let's play that Empty Fade. Well, I'm going to discard it in order to play Endurance. Draw 2 because my mastery is up. And, ooh, I got my slash to the flank, and I got some draw. I'm already in the flank. I'm not moving, so I am threatened. That dust token does take effect. Basically, what happens is the dust token is going to cover this endurance and negate it. So I'm just going to put it there right now just so I don't forget. Here is more crud the game throws at me. Although, I do have to give credit. This feels a little bit tactical. So, I could unleash holy hell right now, especially with this card. All of it has the aggro. That would trigger this card. This card says, the monster turns to the active player, they suffer whatever. I can take that because I have 2 green in my hand. However, the monster turning to the active player is a problem because I can't play red cards against its face. I have nothing but red cards for its face. So, although at the next round, this will get discarded because it's the low number. So I can hold on to my red and unleash next turn. This turn might have to just be more holding up. So we're going to pay Swift Dodge in order to play Blade Reflex, which gives me the defense that I need this turn probably. So I would have to play both these cards in order to get it down to the 1 mastery to avoid that big swipe. But that would get aggro. That would trigger the boss to face me. Is that so bad? I don't have to play these cards. And if I get it down, if I remove the 2... if I remove the 2 tokens, then he won't do the big claw attack. And my sword and shield guy is at 8. If he goes down to 10, he is down for the count. That's KO. That's no good. So I may just do this, have him face me, and just have that be for next turn. We'll see. All right, let's do something heroic. This is going to be really funny, but I think this all works. So instead of all that, let's just go ahead and play some offense. Battle Cry, which is a 0. That is going to be 4 damage. I have to do a damage to myself. That's 7 damage total. 12 plus 7 is 19. That is more than 18. Nothing left over. That brings the boss down to 1. So we have 2 assist cards. Let's discard them. Laddie, I don't like the look in your eyes. What are you doing? Just promise to resurrect me when this is all over. Massive strike. So that is the finisher. That is weapon damage plus 5. Discarding everything else in order to be able to fire that off. That is 9 total damage. All they need is 9 more in order to go down. That triggers this card. They long since got rid of their greens. They suffer wounds. They go down from 8 to 10, which is death.
You know what to do, Ned. I know what to do. Down goes Robert. A turn is ending. No need for an attrition step. All of the cards get discarded. A deplete token goes on one of the articles of armor. Basically, whenever they come back up, they won't have this included in their hit points, so they'll have less hit points to work with. They get this token on their next turn. They flip it up to this, and then the turn after that, they get to stand up, unless there is a revive action that is completed. But for now, too bad, Robert. That was the aggro card. Then we do end of turn stuff, which is this card. Increase the level. If Tarmat is hardened, gain 1 struggle up to 5. So that is bad news. I'll show how that's bad news in a little bit. So thanks to the dying assist from the hand of Robert, I got a ton of cards in my hand. As long as I live, I will win. I have 8 hit points. The monster is going to get their unleash one more time, so I have to use a potion. That's all I got left. So in the round structure, we haven't had to talk about this before, but the very first thing you can do in a round is consume. It's like, whoop, there's death. No, there isn't. So we consume, choose a player in your sector to heal 2. The current attrition level, the top of the attrition discard pile is 1 or lower. The player heals 4. You see that attrition level, it's 2. I don't need that to be any higher. So the low card gets discarded. That is this red. And we go back to the 5 over here. Good. I don't have to deal with you. These tokens get added. More wounds get dealt out. I am back down to 8. No problem. I get a free card draw at the beginning of the turn. Last breath. There it is. So we got all of these cards over here. We are going to just play this. So what has 2 stamina? There you go. Counterattack. Get out of here. Counterattack. Don't need you. Okay. Last breath. Deal damage to the monster equal to the damage you currently sustain. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not enough, so we're going to just discard another card and play some random yellow card. Wait a minute, I got to discard 2 cards for that. So 2 yellow cards. All of that damage adds up to way over 18. Tarmat is defeated. Amira is breathing deeply as she leans against the corrugated walls of the rust-colored gorge. Her face is gaunt from thirst in the desert heat, but the light in her eyes shows strength and conviction. "Thanks for saving our lives," she says in a feeble voice. She looks through the gap you have opened by moving the collapsed rubble, from which several wounded and weary seekers are emerging. Close to exhaustion, they retrieve the notes in their scrolls and wrap protective fabric around some objects that were found in a room beyond the arch. You set off again towards the seekers' camp, plunged back into the cool, biting night air. "Every step we take in this desert is a struggle and exposes us to risk. But wherever we look, we find traces of an ancient human civilization," Amira tells you, leaning on the shoulder of one of her seekers. "Every grain of red rock in this place echoes with a past that we still know nothing about." And so we get some rewards that are listed on the back of the campaign book. I get the Horn Forge card. I get some elements, some plants. I get some text. I get some variant text. But I think that is sufficient for a full playthrough of Primal: The Awakening. I sincerely hope that you had as much fun watching this as I did filming it. It is, like I said in the beginning, a game that is made for me. I have articulated my difficulties, especially with the monster system and all the different rules and everything. But you saw the combos. You saw the potential for emergent story, heroic actions, clever play. This package has a lot going for it. I may be tempted to continue the campaign here in the One Stop Co-op Shop. You won't get pretty painted minis like you would with a Colin or a Band playthrough. However, I do plan on continuing the series, and if you're interested, then I will do so for all of you. If I don't hear a groundswell of support, that's okay. I still have weekly videos here in the One Stop Co-op Shop. Mike has you covered multiple times per week. We at the One Stop Co-op Shop are here for you. This is Jason with that One Stop Co-op Shop. My name is. We'll see you at the next stop.